Hi, my name is Robert. This video is designed to give you step-by-step detailed instructions on completing the task at hand. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I'm going to show you how to properly jump start a car. The reason I'm doing this video is simply because most people do it wrong. I don't know if they do it because it was something that was passed down for generations, or if people are just too scared to look in the owner's manual. But nonetheless, this video will show you how to properly do it without damaging your car. Now, one thing that's a little surprising to me is I've been driving and tinkering for, gosh, probably about 20 years or so, more close to 30, and I have never owned a pair of jumper cables until recently. About 2 years ago, I was driving through a little town in North Carolina in Charlotte, and I seen somebody had some jumper cables for sale at a garage. That is the very first time I've ever owned jumper cables. Normally a battery dying or dead battery will give you several warnings before it actually dies all the way. And I've always had the opinion of, hey, if I could change my battery when it's getting weak, other people need to do the same thing, because it is possible to damage your car when jump starting somebody. I actually explained to my daughter that, it is not her responsibility to jump start somebody else's car. And if somebody needed to jump, it's more than likely they've been getting warnings, and now they're standing in a parking lot, jumper cables in hand, asking you to jump start their car. Well, if somebody ever asks you to jump start the car, the first thing I would say for you to ask them is, if something happens to your car, are they willing to pay for it? If they're not willing to get your car fixed if it's damaged and trying to jump start theirs, I say put your key in the ignition and move on. Don't be trying to help people on the side of the road or in parking lots if they're not willing to help you in the event that something goes wrong. Believe it or not, owner's manual has valuable information for cars and trucks and stuff like that for when you get into situations where you need assistance. One page tells you about towing, how the tow truck should tow your vehicle and how they should not. And there's also instructions on jump starting. So, as you can see here, you can read through these instructions, but the diagram kind of tells it all. Your good battery should have the positive and negative cables hooked up to it. The weak battery or car needing to jump should have the positive hooked up to positive and the negative hooked up to some ground on the vehicle. Either a ground on the motor or a ground on the frame. Now, if you fail to jump start this car properly, there are some warnings here, and you could actually damage computer components in the car. You could blow fuses or relays and stuff like that. Then one or the other car will be disabled because you've hooked the battery cables up wrong, or things didn't go right when you was jump starting. So again, I encourage you to avoid jump starting other people's car, and if you let somebody jump start your car, make sure things are hooked up right. Now, if you're doing this alone like I'm about to do, I recommend clipping the battery jumper cables on some plastic. So I got both cars clipped on plastic, so these cables are not going to touch each other, or else you hold one set while another person holds the other set. The next thing you want to do is find the positive and negative battery cables on both vehicles. Now, the battery will have a plus on it. There's a plus there, and the positive has a red cable or some red markings going to it, while the negative has a minus by the battery, which I can clean off here. And this cable generally will be connected to the body frame somewhere. Now you want to go over to the other vehicle and do the same exact thing. You want to find the minus on the ground and find the positive on the positive side. So now that you know what that is, you want to go ahead and hook the cables up. First thing you want to do is come to the good car and hook the positive up to the positive cable so that the clamp clamps down on it.
Now you want to go to the other car and hook the positive up to the positive cable on this vehicle. Now here's the tricky part. On the good battery or the good vehicle, you want to hook up the negative, and then on the bad vehicle, you need to hook this cable up to either a ground on the motor or a ground on the frame of the car, but you don't want to hook it up to the battery. So I'm going to go over here, hook it up to the ground on the body of the vehicle. Now that I have both vehicles hooked up, I'm ready to try to start the car with the weak battery. Now, I could start the car with the good battery if I want to make sure that it's getting its full charge and putting out a good charge. But this car on the weak side, it may take a few minutes for this battery to charge up enough or the system to give enough power to the starter to get the car started. Believe it or not, I've actually seen people with 2 sets of jumper cables hooked up to the 2 vehicles. I mean, that is totally unnecessary, and I want to encourage you, stay away from that kind of practice. The thing to do if you want to help somebody is let them remove their battery, deliver their battery to a local parts store for charging, and then bring them back. That's much better than risking damaging your car, giving somebody else a jump. So if you have any questions or problems with this, take it up with your owner's manual. And if you have any other questions, you can go ahead and ask. And thanks again for watching. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.